Okay, y'all. This is actually St. Patrick's Day, so I have my shirt that I bought for y'all. I'm not wearing makeup, so judge somebody else. You'll be getting this on the 18th. This is your lesson notes for the 18th. We're moving on to the next lesson. Again, we are on track to having your quiz on Friday, so be prepared for that. Make sure you're asking questions. This is still a review. We did talk about these, so these videos we now know limits us to 15 minutes, so I'm going to do my very best to get this all done in 15 minutes. There's no way that I can answer all these questions in 15 minutes, so I'm going to just kind of pop around and answer as many as I can during that time frame, and then y'all have to just ask questions for whatever else you need while you're doing your homework. So here we go. Let's get started. All right. The product property. We learned in class before we left that the product property is paired with addition. So that keeps it log base b m plus log base b n. Okay, so it just separates it there with the plus with the plus, the multiplication goes with the addition. So this one wants you to condense, which means instead of it being spread out with the plus sign, they want it to all be together. So we're just multiplying 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Log 2, 28. That's all they want you to do is just write it as a single log. This is common log, so log 100. Okay, this one here has some x's. You still do everything the same. Log 4, 2 times 4 is 8, x, and x to the second gives me x to the third. Okay, all right, now they want you to expand. So if we look at this, the expansion of log 6, you got to think about 6 and what would be some factors of 6. So I'm going to say 2 times 3. I'm going to try to stay away from 1 as much as possible. You could use 1 and 6, but that's kind of silly. So 2 and 3, that would be the expansion of the multiplication, and then I can separate that with addition. It's common log, so I just put log 2 plus log 3. 45. Some factors of 45 are what? 9 and 5? It's hard with y'all not being here to answer all those questions. I have to depend on myself. Looks just like that. For this one, you have 5 and x. You're just separating that 5 and that x. They're being multiplied together. So log 2 remains the same, 5 plus log 2x. All right, now we have the quotient property. The quotient is paired with subtraction. So we'll be subtracting log b m minus log b n. And that was probably supposed to be in that cute little box, but whatever. All right, so here we have our subtraction. Again, the log 3 stays the same. We have 24 divided by 8. Is that divisible? Yeah, 3. So log 3, 3. All right. Over here, we've got log 215 minus log 215. So log 2 stays the same. You've got 15 divided by 15. Well, that's 1. So this would be log 2, 1. We have our exponents. Remember, the rule for your exponents is that when you divide like bases, which is what we are doing here, we are going to subtract their exponents. Your like base is x, so you have 9 minus 2, which is 7. So you have log 4x to the 7th power. Now, they did not ask you to do the power property, so we're leaving it just like that. Okay, now the next one wants us to expand. So this one we have to think about what could divide and give us 4. So you could use really anything. I'm going to use, let's see what they used, 8 and 2. That's probably the easiest. So you've got log 8 and then 8 divided by 2. But really it could be anything that gives you 4. So you can think about 16 divided by 4. That would give you 4. Just kind of anything that would give you that 4 to break it up into a division. And then you would separate it. Log base 8, 8 minus log base 8, 2. Okay, for this one, you already have your fraction 1/3, so you can simply just separate that. Log base 5, 1 minus log base 5, 3. That's it. For this one, you've got log base 10, so a common log, m, minus log 7. So you're just splitting those up. Okay, then we have our power property. Remember with the power property, if there is a power here, you put it up front. So that would be n times log base b n. We don't really write that multiplication sign. We just kind of put them right there beside each other. So that's what you would be doing. So they want you to condense this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 5 that's up front, bring it back over here and make it its exponent. So that's log base 4, 2 to the 5th power. Now we can simplify that. 2 to the 5th power is 32. Just like that. Okay, 7 is the exponent of x. So log base 2, x to the 7th power. This 1/3 is the exponent, so it's log base 10, common log, I don't have to write that, and then 8 to the 1/3 power. Now, I don't know 8 to the 1/3 power, so we could just leave it like that, but anytime you're dealing with a fraction like that as an exponent, what you're doing is you are like basically taking the denominator and you're doing the root of that. So this would be the 3rd root. So we could have log the 3rd root of 8 to the 1st power, just like that. So that's a little tiny 3. It's hard to see. But that's what's happening. Anytime you have a exponent to a certain power, this is what the root would be, and this is still the exponent once it's in there. So we could write it like that, and I'm guessing that's probably what they're going to want. If you had a quiz that had something like that, that's how they would write that. Okay, keep moving. All right, 16, they want you to expand that. When they expand that, you're taking the 7 and you're writing it up front. 7 times log 2, 8. And that's expanded. That's all we're doing for that one. This one's got your 3 already up there. So this one already has an exponent to an exponent. And if you remember the rules of an exponent, when you raise a power to a power, you multiply. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do with this exponent here. We're taking that exponent, we're putting it up front as well. So that's going to be 3 times x minus 1 times log 4. And then we're going to go ahead and do that. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 times log 4. Just like that. This one again, you're seeing that. So this is definitely something that this curriculum is expecting us to know. Anytime you have a square root, cubed root, 4th root, you can write that as an exponent to a fractional power. So this would be log 7 is your base. W would be to the 1/2 power, because this is a square root. So since that's a square root, the 2 would be on the denominator because the denominator is your root, and then the exponent would be 1 because that W is just to the 1st power, so that's 1/2. Then you take that 1/2 and you put it up front. So 1/2 times log base 7 W. That's your answer. Okay, great. So that's that information. Now, on this paper, we're going to be putting it all together. So you're taking all 3 of those powers and you're going to be putting all of those skills together. So we're already at 9 minutes, which means I am going to have to just answer as many of these as I can. So I'm going to start with the condensing the logs. So if we're condensing the logs, that's why you see multiple logs here. We're going to take those logs and we're going to write them as a single log. So for this one, you've got the 2 up front. Well, that's an exponent, so I can deal with that very quickly. Log 6 to the 2nd power. Well, log 6 to the 2nd power will be the same thing as log 36, right? I'm doubting myself, but I think it is. 6 to the 2nd power is, I'm going to get my calculator, Yeah, 36. I don't know why I was doubting myself. And then we have minus log 9. That means that we're going to divide. So we've got log 36 divided by 9. Well, that's going to be log 4. And that's where you would stop, because that's what it is together. So now we have a single log that we've written by doing our math. Okay, so this one both has an exponent. So you would put both of those exponents with those logs. Log 4, a to the 4th, plus log 4, b to the 2nd. Okay, so then this is plus, so that means I'm going to multiply log 4, a to the 4th, b to the 2nd. And that's my answer. All right, let me go down to one of these that's going to be a little bit more challenging. So let's go to 26 and do that one. So if I look at 26, I'm going to start with this, put that as an exponent there. I'm going to take this and put this as an exponent here. Okay? All right, so by doing that, I have log 6 to the 2nd power. I'm leaving that minus sign there. I'm not distributing that, and then I'm going to raise that to log 16 to the 1/4 power. Okay? Now, I would just bring this log down. The subtraction right here tells me that I'm going to divide. So I'm taking this log 6 to the 2nd power, and I'm dividing that by 16 to the 1/4 power. Now, you may have to use Desmos for this. I don't know that your calculator will do this for you, but what we have is we have 6 to the 2nd, which is 36. That's pretty easy. Now, 16 to the 1/4. If we were doing it by hand, the 1 is the exponent on top. The 4 is what root we're dealing with. So that would be the 4th root of 16. 16 to the 4th root. Well, if you have this calculator, you could go to Math, down to the 5th button, change that to 4, and type in 16. That's 2. Okay? Now, if you don't have this calculator, you could do that with Desmos, I believe. That would be able to help you do that, but you've got to have a way to put that in your calculator to be able to do the 4th root of that, which basically means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give you 16. So then we do our division. 36 divided by 2 is 18. So log 18 plus log 3. Plus means that you're going to multiply. 18 times 3 is 54. So your answer is log 54. So take them one step at a time, put them together. Okay, we've got to move to the second one. I have less than 2 minutes to go over these. These are expanding. So when you expand these, what you're going to do is you're going to take each one and expand it individually. So in this parentheses, I have x, y, and z to the 4th. The only thing that's to the 4th is z. So when I expand this, log 6x plus log 6y plus log z to the 4th. Everyone's separated with a plus sign because they were being multiplied. 4 is going to have to go in front of that log, just like that. Bring everybody down. Oh, I forgot the 6. Okay, and so log 6x plus log 6y plus 4 log 6z. That's your final answer. This one, let's go ahead and do 30. It's a little bit harder. I have 1 minute, so I'm going to put that 2 up front. That's the first thing that I'm going to do. Okay. Now, 2 log 2 stays the whole remainder of the time. So then I'm just going to split up the y and the z. They're being divided, so that's going to be subtraction. 2 log 2y minus 2 log 2z to the 5th. Now, I have to take this 5 and move it up here. Remember the rule, when you raise a power to a power, you multiply. So I'm multiplying 2 times 5, which is going to give me 10. All right, y'all, that's all the time that I'm going to have for this lesson. You're going to have homework. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm sure that you do. Bye.